Security Chief Zaxula activated his emergency communicator as klaxons wailed throughout the Corthanian battleship Void Talon. The massive vessels shuddered under what felt like weapons impact, but their shields were holding, and no incoming fire had been detected. "Bridge, this is security. We have reports of a massive fire on Deck 7, Section Delta. Thermal sensors are showing temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Celsius, requesting immediate fire suppression teams." Captain Vorth's voice crackled back through the comm system, tinged with confusion. "Negative on the fire suppression, Chief. Deck 7 is occupied. We have human boarders." Zaxula's four eyes blinked in rapid succession. "Sir, respectfully, that's impossible. Our hull integrity is intact. No boarding pods have breached the outer." His words were cut short by a sound that made his chitinous exoskeleton shiver, the distinctive whine of human plasma cutters working through reinforced bulkheads. But plasma cutters didn't explain the heat signatures. His sensors were detecting those readings suggested an industrial furnace, not handheld tools. "Thermal bloom expanding," reported his subordinate, Officer Krill Nex, studying his scanner with growing alarm. "Sir, whatever's causing this heat signature is moving through the ship. And it's moving fast." The first human rounded the corner into their security checkpoint, moving at what Zaxula's mind could only process as impossible speed. The creature, though he knew intellectually it was a sentient being, appeared to be literally on fire. Not metaphorically, actual flames wreathed its form, and the air around it shimmered with heat distortion. Zaxula raised his energy rifle, but hesitated. His species had evolved on a cold, methane-rich world where temperatures rarely exceeded -40 degrees Celsius. The sight of a being that could apparently exist while engulfed in flames triggered every evolutionary fear response in his nervous system. The human he could see now, it was wearing some kind of armored suit that glowed white-hot at the joints didn't slow down. It simply raised its weapon and fired a bolt of superheated plasma that melted through Zaxula's cover like it was made of ice. "Defensive positions." Zaxula screamed, but his team was already scattering. The human's weapon didn't just fire energy beams, it projected sustained streams of plasma, hot enough to vaporize their ship's hull material. More humans poured into the corridor behind the first, each one radiating heat like a mobile star. Their armored suits seemed to be designed to operate at temperatures that would instantly kill most galactic species, and their weapons. Their weapons were turning the ship's interior into a molten hellscape. Lieutenant Torres of the Human Marine Corps checked her suit's thermal output as she advanced down the alien corridor. The Corthanian ship's atmosphere was uncomfortably cold, nearly -60 Celsius, and the standard-issue powered armor was working overtime to maintain operational temperature. "Heat signatures off the charts, Torres," came Sergeant Rodriguez's voice through the comm. "These lizard birds are probably cooking in their own shells just from being near us." Torres grinned inside her helmet. Human military doctrine had evolved around one simple principle: if you couldn't outthink the enemy, overwhelm them with superior firepower and environmental advantages. The Corthanian species was adapted for sub-zero environments, which made them sitting ducks when faced with human thermal warfare. Her plasma rifle was set to maximum output, not because the aliens' armor required it, but because the psychological effect of watching their cover materials liquefy was devastating to cold-adapted species. Every shot created a localized inferno that sent the defenders into panic. "Rodriguez, take your squad and secure the engine room. Chen, with me to the bridge. Let's keep this heat signature moving." Back in the Corthanian Security Center, Zaxula watched in horror as his tactical display showed the fire spreading through the ship like a living thing. Deck by deck, section by section, the thermal readings climbed to impossible levels as the human boarding party advanced. "Sir, Krill next reported, his voice high with panic. They're not just using thermal weapons. They are thermal weapons. Each human is registering internal body temperatures of 37 degrees Celsius. Their blood is literally hot enough to kill us through proximity exposure. Zaxula's worldview crumbled as he realized the horrible truth. The humans weren't using some exotic thermal technology to create these infernal conditions. This was their natural operating environment. They were creatures literally born of fire and heat, beings who thrived in temperatures that would flash boil Corthanian blood. Emergency evacuation, he broadcast on all frequencies. All personnel to escape pods. We cannot fight creatures made of fire. But it was already too late. The human advance had reached the ship's central computer core, and Torres was methodically melting through the security barriers with what appeared to be casual ease. Surrender now, and we'll provide environmental suits. Torres broadcast in perfectly translated Corthanian. Your ship is now a human Marine Corps prize vessel. Resistance is futile, and frankly, thermodynamically impossible. Captain Vorth's voice came over the ship's communication system, defeated and exhausted. All hands, stand down. Prepare for thermal evacuation procedures. As Zaxula made his way to the nearest escape pod, he couldn't help but marvel at the efficiency of human boarding tactics. They hadn't just overwhelmed the ship's defenses, they had turned the very environment into a weapon by simply existing within it. The escape pod's sensors showed the void talon receding behind them, but the ship now glowed with residual heat from the human occupation. What had once been a state-of-the-art Corthanian battleship was now a mobile furnace, completely uninhabitable by any cold-adapted species. In his final report to Corthanian High Command, Zaxula would write, "Human boarding actions do not follow conventional military doctrine. They do not capture ships, they transform them into environments hostile to all life except their own. Recommend immediate revision of all defensive protocols to account for thermal-based warfare." The report would later become required reading at Corthanian military academies, filed under the section titled, "Why Environmental Incompatibility is Humanity's Greatest Weapon." But the humans, for their part, simply noted in their mission logs that the Corthanian vessel had been a bit chilly and that the enemy had been surprisingly heat-sensitive. To them, it had just been another day at the office.